In the silent hours of midnight aboard Earth's orbital research station, Dr. Ilara Voss stared at her console, expecting another uneventful data sweep of deep space. But then, a faint, rhythmic pulse appeared on the monitor, so steady and precise it felt almost alive. At first, she thought it was interference, but the signal kept returning, matching the exact pattern of a human heartbeat. She checked other systems, nothing explained it. As hours turned into days, the pulse grew stronger and was detected by observatories across the planet. The strange thing was, it wasn't coming from a single star or planet. It was everywhere, rippling through space as if the entire galaxy was breathing in sync with Earth. Scientists scrambled to decode it, but the readings only deepened the mystery. Vast regions of alien space lit up in perfect rhythm with the signal, and where the pulse was weak, planetary life seemed unstable. Something about humanity's very existence was linked to the health of distant worlds, though no one could explain how. As the global scientific community debated in hushed tones, a single chilling thought began to spread. What if the galaxy wasn't just watching humanity? What if it was depending on them? The first alien ships arrived without warning, sliding into Earth's orbit like silent shadows against the stars. They did not come with weapons drawn, but their presence carried a weight that silenced even the most powerful nations. In the Great Chamber of the United Nations, delegates from across the world watched in disbelief as beings of impossible shapes and colors stepped forward. Their leader, a tall, crystalline figure whose voice sounded like distant wind chimes, spoke through a translator. The pulse humans emitted was the lifeline of countless worlds. It flowed invisibly across the galaxy, maintaining breathable air, stable climates, and the delicate balance of ecosystems far beyond human reach. Without it, they said, entire civilizations would face famine, collapse, and extinction. The aliens confessed they had monitored Earth for centuries, ensuring its survival without ever revealing the truth. But now, the pulse was fading, and their own attempts to recreate it had failed completely. What frightened humanity most was not just the alien plea for help, it was the unspoken implication that if they failed to restore the pulse, the galaxy's fall would begin with them, and the responsibility of trillions of lives now rested in human hands alone. Dr. Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the starship Argus, watching Earth shrink into the darkness as the ship prepared to jump into faster-than-light travel. Her mission was unlike any in human history, to follow the fading threads of the mysterious pulse and discover why it was weakening. Alongside her were a mixed crew of human scientists, alien biologists, and engineers from worlds humanity had never imagined before. Their first stop was Mars, where small human colonies thrived under domes, but the pulse readings were noticeably weaker compared to Earth. Analysis revealed something shocking. The pulse's strength depended not only on human biology, but also on the living ecosystems of Earth, the forests, oceans, and even the unseen balance of microorganisms that had evolved with humanity over millennia. When the Argus ventured further, they found alien worlds suffering from strange environmental collapse, their skies dimming and crops withering where the pulse could no longer reach. The crew also uncovered signs of interference. Unknown ships had been visiting critical regions on Earth, taking samples, and leaving subtle disruptions in places rich with pulse activity. These were no random visits. Someone was deliberately tampering with the source. The data pointed toward one alarming truth. The pulse wasn't simply fading on its own, it was being stolen. If the thief succeeded, humanity would lose not only its accidental role as the galaxy's life support system, but also the trust and fragile unity it had just begun to build with other civilizations. As the Argus prepared to trace the sabotage to its source, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, and that the enemy already knew they were coming. The Argus pierced the black void between stars, racing against time as the pulse continued to weaken. Dr. Ilara Voss and her crew traced the interference back to the Amazon basin, one of Earth's richest sources of the vital energy that flowed invisibly across the galaxy. Reports had come in of massive illegal mining operations, forests being cleared faster than any sensor could track, and alien vessels quietly assisting the destruction. The situation was worse than they imagined. This wasn't just environmental negligence. It was sabotage designed to redirect the pulse. Whoever controlled it could decide which planet survived and which would fail, holding billions of lives hostage. The crews split their efforts. Human engineers worked to remotely halt the industrial machines, while alien biologists calculated how to stabilize the weakened pulse temporarily. On the ground, teams faced not only the physical dangers of collapsing terrain and collapsing ecosystems, but also sabotage agents who would do anything to stop them. Time was slipping away. Every hour, the forests were destroyed, the pulse's strength dropped further, and the alien worlds they were responsible for suffered. Alara realized that fixing Earth alone wouldn't be enough. They had to restore the human connection that gave the pulse its true power, the collective energy of millions of lives living, caring, and interacting in harmony with the planet. Across the globe, communications systems were hijacked to send out a signal of unity, calling humans to cooperate, conserve, and protect what they barely understood was now the lifeline of the galaxy. As millions responded with small acts of care, shared experiences, and messages of hope, the pulse began to flicker back to life. But the saboteurs were still out there, watching, ready to strike again. The tension was unbearable. Every step forward felt like a fragile victory. Every misstep could cost trillions. In that critical moment, humanity understood the truth of its accidental power. They were no longer just Earth's stewards. They were the heartbeat of countless worlds, and the universe was holding its breath. As the Argus returned to Earth orbit, Dr. Alara Voss watched the planet below, knowing that the pulse was still dangerously weak and the fate of countless worlds hung in the balance. Alien envoys had mobilized their fleets, but they could not restore what only humans could sustain. The saboteurs, a shadowy coalition of alien factions and greedy corporations, were still active, trying to seize control of Earth's remaining pulse-rich zones, and every moment of delay made the galaxy tremble closer to collapse. Alara realized that machinery, science, or even alien technology alone could not save the pulse. Its true source was the life, emotions, and unity of humanity itself. Across cities, towns, and villages, people began responding to the call. Children planted trees, communities protected wildlife, engineers restored damaged ecosystems, and families reached out to one another in messages of hope and connection. Music, art, laughter, and simple acts of kindness, energies often taken for granted, spread across the planet like a wave, and slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the pulse began to grow stronger. On the bridge of the Argus, instruments registered the resurgence as energy rippled outward, flowing across the galaxy, stabilizing alien worlds that had begun to fail. For the first time, humans realized their accidental power was also a choice, the choice to care, to act, and to protect life on every level. The saboteurs were thwarted, unable to redirect what depended on human will and unity, and the galaxy's fragile systems hummed back to life. Alien leaders, once wary of humanity, now regarded them with awe and respect. The Earthlings had proven that their greatest strength was not technology or weapons, but the courage, creativity, and compassion that made them human. As the pulse surged, lighting distant stars and worlds in harmony with Earth, Alara smiled, knowing that humanity had not just survived, they had chosen to become the beating heart of the galaxy, a living reminder that even the smallest species could shape the fate of the universe.